good music. So today's chord is the B diminished chord, also known as the B minor flat 5 chord. Kind of fancy names, but I'm going to show you how it's all built up today. So we're continuing our discussion of the music alphabet, but now we're beginning to build our chords. So B diminished is our next chord in the group. So to do that, what we do is we go to the music alphabet, we find the letter B, we start from there, and we go B, we go to the next letter, which is C, but C we're going to take out, we're skipping it. After C comes D, we're going to keep that. After D comes E, we're skipping that. And then we go to F, which comes after E, and we're going to keep the F. So the spelling of the chord results in B, D, and F. Now, to find out where these chords are on the guitar. So I'm actually going to start in a different place than I normally would start, which is going to be on the bottom strings. So I'm not doing the top strings yet. So I'm going to reverse the order just a little bit, because now the notes are going to be sort of in a different collection. Right there. So this is not a very pleasant sounding chord. It's known as a dissonant chord, so it kind of creates tension, which is very good for music. On its own, it doesn't sound very good, but as a sound, it sounds great. So that's something you can check out at your leisure and do whatever you want with. But that's a very distinct sound too. Okay, so what I did there, rather than keep playing it, I'll tell you what I did. I played the F note, which is part of the B, D, F spelling of the B diminished chord, but I'm taking the F first, then I'm going to play a B after that. It's known as a tritone, very dissonant interval. After that we have a D and an F, sorry, excuse me, B and D. So you put those three tones together, you get the spelling of a B diminished chord, and also that's where it's located in this location. Okay? Now if I go to the next spot, if I play a B, I can play the B and a D and then maybe an F here, but you get more of a B arpeggio, B diminished arpeggio. So what I can do there is I can actually take the F and play it somewhere else, which is kind of unorthodox. Kind of strange, right? So it doesn't quite seem to fit. So for our purposes of keeping everything within the first three frets, with this particular chord, we're somewhat limited in where we can play it. Now I can do that. I can play a B note, an F note, and a D note that way, skipping over the third string. And that would give us our B diminished chord, or B minor flat 5 chord. Now if we were to strum that, we would play across 4 strings, and the back side of the ring finger is going to knock out the G string. I'm going to skip that one. So the right hand can go through 4 strings, but the back side of the ring finger is knocking out the third string. So when we play the F note on the D string, we can position the ring finger in such a way that we can feel the string hitting the back side of our ring finger. Sounds kind of weird, right? But that's still a B diminished chord, okay? So there's lots of different ways to play that, but for our purposes of keeping it within the first 3 frets, we're somewhat limited into the amount of locations we can play the chord. If we were doing consecutive strings, we'd have to skip a couple, or 1 in this case, okay? So that's the collection of your B diminished chord, also known as B minor flat 5. Keeping consistent with the first 3 frets and using open strings whenever we can. So you can see now there's a bit of a change in the action. So I can also include open strings if I want to. I could play my D string open, I could play my B string open, and then play F on top. So if I were to strum that, it'd be a little more tricky. If I did it with my fingers, I can actually take my thumb, play it the D string open, index finger plays the B string open, and then the middle finger plays the high fretted note, which in this case the only finger down is the first finger on the F note. So fingerstyle guitar playing can give you more options in terms of playing the chord in different locations, right? So there's a lot of things you can explore with that. But if we're playing exclusively with pick, we're limited with playing consecutive strings, except for the very first one I showed you. Okay? So, very interesting sound. So there you go. Hopefully that gives you some food for thought if you want to try playing chords with your fingers on your right hand as opposed to playing with a pick. There's some options there. But that's the deal. So if you're not sure where B, D, and F are, go back and review those videos in the music alphabet talking about each of those notes separately. So there it is, really funky chord. You can see there's a little more to the mix than just kind of playing consecutive strings. We have to be a little more creative and choose our sounds. So there you go. That's the B diminished chord, also known as B minor flat 5. And I hope you found it interesting. And stay tuned for the next chord. The next chord is going to be the C chord. Okay? So thanks for coming by. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. And if there's a notification bell, hit that too. You'll get to hear about all of the newest uploads to this channel. So thank you for being here, and hope you found this useful. Take care. Bye.